School was a time in which I broadened my perspectives. I grew as a person, I became smarter, at least book smarter, and most importantly, I gained memories that would last a lifetime. When I look back, school was just filled with so many good memories. But in hindsight, there was a very, very big mistake that I made during my school years. And it was detrimental, and it came back to bite me in the future. In this video, I will tell you what this mistake was, and believe you me, it might sound simple, but it was very, very detrimental to my future. So, I will tell you the problem, what I did, the mistake I did, and I will tell you how to avoid it. Alright? By the way, my name is Tawakal. I'm a self-improvement YouTuber. I talk about productivity, general life, problems Gen Z are facing. Anyway, back to the video. So the problem that I faced was I did not study enough. Wait, pause. I know you guys are gonna be like, okay, well, that's your problem. Everyone in school should study. If you want to go to university, if you want to go to college, you need to study. I finished with a 3.4 GPA, which is very respectable. But I wish I did better. Because, in school, there are tests where it's just like a class test and it's being recorded. And you're just like, you know what, I really don't want to study for this. I'll study for midterms, I'll study for finals, I'll study for the SAT. You need to study for every single test, because if you want to go to the pristine, excellent, elite universities like the Harvards, the Yales, the Oxfords, the Cambridges, the John Hopkins, you need to be excellent. You need to be excellence all year round. And that's the thing with me. I would choose which test to study for. So I'd be like, you know what, this test is not really important. I'm not really gonna study for it. I'm just gonna freestyle it and see what happens. Okay, this is a midterm. I need to study for it. And you can't pick and choose which test you study for, because some of these universities will ask for a transcript, which is basically every single test that you wrote during your high school years, and they want your marks for every single test. So if you got a 40% in one and an 82% in the second, that 40% is still there. It's still being shown to the university. So I don't think Yale would like that, or Harvard would like that, or any Ivy League school would like that. So you need to study way more. And I know there's a whole stigma that, oh, I'm gonna be seen as a nerd. Honestly, believe you me, when you're in the big universities, you won't even be thinking about those boys that were like, oh, you're such a nerd, you're so weird. You won't even be. When you're at a John Hopkins, when you're at a Harvard, I don't think you'll even care that, oh, Amanda from history class called me a nerd. You won't even give a flying damn. You won't care. So what I'm gonna tell you guys to do is strive for that 4.0 GPA. For the people that are in the UK or other countries, strive for the A stars. Strive to get many GCSEs. You want to be perfection. And I know perfection is very hard to achieve. Try to aim for like a 3.8, 3.7, 3.9 upwards, And for the people in the UK, try to get an A's and A stars. Try to get that. Because when you get that, it will be easier to go to these universities. And I know this is for the people that want to be doctors, engineers, accountants, or whatever fancy coder, software engineer, whatever fancy job you want to do that requires you to go to university. So what I'm going to tell you guys to do is study. And I know it sounds very simple, but this was my biggest mistake, and it came back to bite me, because the university opportunities I was given were not the ones I wanted, And I'm not saying you need to become a 24/7 nerd and just study all the time. Go to parties, man. I was known as the party guy. I was known as the party guy, but I digress. Go to parties, have a good time. After high school, life gets way more serious, so goof around. I'm not saying don't goof around, but don't forget to study. There needs to be a perfect balance. A perfect balance. Life with balance is perfection. I'll say that again, life with balance is perfection. And just a little side note, this is the last piece of advice that I'll give you all before I leave. You do not want to be going to the principal's office every single week. Believe you me, all of these universities will probably ask for recommendations and behavioral patterns or whatever the hell they call them. And you don't want the principal or your class teacher or whatever, or your math teacher, English teacher, science teacher, whatever, to say that this person he doesn't like authority, because it doesn't look good on your resume. Being suspended, being expelled, that does not look nice on your resume. So just butter their fingers. Be a bootlegger. You might not even like the teacher. They were teachers I hated, but I was just like, you know what? Let me be a good person, because you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power over my future. So I was just good to them. I hated them, but I was like, you know what? Let me just butter your fingers. And now I have a lot of good recommendations. So this is the advice that I'll leave you with. Okay? Peace. Let me love and leave you. Remember, study.